Wasted money on cures. Forgot how to fix myself. They say that time is free. Then why is it so precious? Oh, I'll say memories in my head, like Polaroids on walls. They remind you to look ahead. Time is running out. Time is running out. Lately I've lost my track. I've sailed the deeper seas, hoping to find something to bring back better times. Oh, I'll say memories in my head, like Polaroids on walls. They remind you to look ahead. But time is running out. 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 Time is running. Time is running out. But time is running out. What if my best days are over? They can be over. They can't be over now. Time is running out. What if my best days are over? They can't be over now. Time is running out. Time is running out. Time is running out.
Evening all, it's Jim here. Welcome to our latest, I think this is our 6th or 7th AQA A-Level Business live session for this term. We've got this one plus one more next week. And after having gone through units 3.1 all the way to 3.6, we are now going to do a couple of sort of a summary or synoptic sessions with a quantitative or calculation theme. And to help me get through that, I've got Graham and Jamie with me. Good evening.
Evening, Jim.
Graham and Jamie.
Evening all.
Lots of people joining us live. Just whilst we're doing that, just a quick reminder, the reason why we've only got one more next week is that the week after, we are over in, I think this is 2 weeks' time, aren't we, in Stratford? So we start our Strong Foundations live workshops. So you can come and see Graham and I and the team live. We're in Leeds on the 24th of November, Friday the 24th, and London on the Tuesday and Wednesday, I think, that week. I think London on the Tuesday sold out already. Wednesday, almost sold out. Birmingham, a few places left, and Manchester. We finish off in Manchester at the amazing Trafford Centre on the 1st of December. So if you get a chance to come and join us on one of those days, that'd be great to meet you. Looking forward to that. And so we've got about 30 minutes for this session. G, do you want to sort of take us through what we're going to cover?
Yeah, quant skills, numerical concepts. So as usual, we've got the the usual mix of MCQs, calculation questions, application activities, all with a quant skill and numerical focus. But as always, Jim, we're going to start with the big reveal, aren't we? We're going to start with the big reveal. So this time, could be a product, could be a business. We don't know.
Yeah.
So
I think
we're
it's
gonna
a business, actually, isn't it? I think it's a bit. It's tight.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
normally, it was a product last week. It's normally a business, isn't it? The week after. So
Yeah. So let's have a look. So this one was founded in 1987 in South Africa. So if you're thinking of a business, if you sat there thinking, you know, I know a business that was founded in 1987 in South Africa, well, type it in the chat window. If the one you're thinking of was founded in South Africa in 1988, then unfortunately it can't be it. So what do we think? Clue number 2. Should we move through the clue? So its first UK location opened in 1992. I would imagine there'll be a lot of students listening to this, whether live or on catch up, will have been in here. I think so. Clue number 3. Its products draw inspiration from Portugal and Africa. You'd think, yeah, well, you would think that, wouldn't you, since it was founded in South Africa. So its products draw inspiration from Portugal and Africa. Someone's in the bed now with a cheeky response straight in the chat window. So shall I have a look at clue number 4?
Whilst we're doing this, G, don't forget our new AI feature automatically picks the first correct answer. We'll display that on the screen after clue 5.
Right. Okay. So the business name comes from one of the founders, Fernando Duarte. So it's one of those. Is that if I pronounced that right? Did I pronounce Fernando?
Fernando.
Duarte, yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Clue number 5. Flame grilled chicken is the most popular product. I've actually only been here once, and that was about 2 months ago. And it is indeed. Ben,
yep, I'll just flick the AI switch here. We're ChatGTP now powering our. There we go. Ben was first in.
There you go. Yeah, Nando's. It was indeed Nando's. So Nando's founded in 1987, opened in the UK in 1992. As we can see, it comes from the name Fernando. Its most popular product is flame grilled chicken. I've only been in there once. It was all right.
Oh, sorry, I thought there was a joke coming.
No.
Right, folks. So let's get going, shall we? So we've got about 25 minutes of fast-paced revision, and it's all on quantitative skills. And as always with these sessions, we start with, well, in this case, 6 brand new MCQs, exam style, exam standard, hopefully, paper 1 MCQs. And we've got some calculations to do on these, so we'll work our way through them carefully. I'll do the first one here. A business produces an average of 75,000 units per month, and those 75,000 units have a total cost of £540,000. Now, what is the variable cost per unit if we're told that in addition fixed costs are in there at 180,000 per month? So with that data, you should be able to work out what the variable cost per unit is. We're looking out in the live chat. If you're joining us live, have a go. You don't have to, but it's always great to see 1 or 2 contributions coming in. Obviously, if you watch on catch up or replay, maybe pause the video, give yourself at least a minute to have a go at this question. So we're looking for the variable cost per unit. It's either going to be A, B, C, or D. And I can definitely see the correct answer on the screen now.
Oh, is that a clue?
No. I've just worked it out in my head again, and I think I'm right. So a few more seconds to see if anyone wants to have a go in the live chat before we reveal the correct answer. We've got a few calculations tonight, but not all calculations. Some of it is interpreting data. Shall we have a look at the right answer? I've not seen a correct one in the live chat yet. Let's have a look. Well, I said that. Sheila's in with B, and it is indeed B, £4.80 per unit. So well done. Sheila's the first correct answer. Yeah, so we know the total cost is £540,000. Of that, fixed costs are £180,000. Therefore, total variable costs must be £360,000. £360,000 divided by 75,000 units is £4.80 variable cost per unit. Good start. Here's our next one. Jamie?
Okay, so we go to one of our first statement questions today. Again, the answers are always the same in terms of trues or falses. So statement 1 says, in break-even analysis, the margin of safety equals the actual output less budgeted output. Is that true or false? And statement 2, a decrease in fixed costs will lower the break-even output if the contribution unit stays the same. Is that one true or false? We've got Ruben straight in with an answer already. Okay, tough ones these are. You have to really read them and have a look. Take your time. So break-even analysis, the margin of safety equals actual output less budgeted. Is that true or false? And a decrease in fixed costs will lower the break-even if the contribution stays the same. Trues or falses? Should we have a look, Jim? So we've got an answer there of C. So in break-even analysis, the margin of safety equals actual output less budgeted output. Well, that's actually, the first part of that's correct, isn't it? So actual output is correct, but it's minus the break-even output, not the budgeted output. And a decrease in fixed costs will lower the break-even contribution output if contribution stays the same. So for example, if our contribution was, let's say, £10 per unit, and our fixed costs were 100,000, well, that gives us a break-even of 10,000. But if we change our fixed costs to 90,000 and keep the contribution the same, then our break-even would lower to 9,000 units. So we've got false and true.
Yeah, that was a hard one. Okay, here's our third of 6. Now, this one I think it's a really hard question, but actually it involves some fairly simple maths. But anyway, let's have a look, shall we? The closing balance in the cash flow forecast of a business was 120,000. If the opening balance was 20% less than the closing balance, what was the forecast net cash flow for the year? So this is sort of interpreting the results of cash flow forecasts. Closing balance 120,000. Now the opening balance at the start of the year was 20,000 less than that. What was the forecast net cash flow for the year? Maybe give you another 15, 30 seconds or so on this one. What do we think?
It's not frequently examined,
No.
cash flow forecast calculations. So that's why you really need to be on top of it, because it's one of those that it'll just crop up. Doesn't appear that often.
A few more seconds to have a go at this one. These aren't easy today, so if you're watching live thinking, well, struggling with these, well, they're meant to be exam standard, exam style. Try to keep the standard really high and obviously have lots of practice. That's the key to these. Not seen a correct answer so far. Shall we have a look at the correct answer? It is indeed 24,000. So the opening balance was 20% less than the closing balance. So 20% less of 120 is 96,000. So we started with 96,000. We ended up with 120. Therefore, our net cash flow for the year must have been 24,000. That's the difference between the opening and the closing balances is the net cash flow. An important formula to remember. Net cash flow is the closing balance less the opening balance. So 96,000 was the opening balance, wasn't it? But that's not the net cash flow for the year. These aren't easy. Should we have a go at question 4? Over to you, Jamie.
Yeah, back to our statement questions again. So again, we're looking for whether the answer is true and or false. So statement 1, in a decision tree, the expected value of an option can be negative. Is that true or is that false? And in statement 2, in a decision tree, the net gain of an option is the expected value minus the initial cost of a given choice. Is that true or is that false? So the answers always stay the same in terms of A, B, C, and D. They don't change, but the statements obviously do. So is statement 1 true or false? Is statement 2 true or false? Mia's come in straight away with an answer. I'll just give it a little while, see if anyone else. Again, read these clearly. And obviously make sure that you read the statement answers A, B, C, and D to make sure that you're choosing the right one as well. Of course, if you are looking at your statement questions or any multiple choice question and you're struggling to come up with an answer, then at least have a guess. There's a 25% chance of getting it right, isn't there? Yeah. Sheila's come up with an answer as well. All right. Should we have a look, Jim? Okay, so the answer is A. So statement 1 is true. So in a decision tree, the expected value of an option can be negative. Again, it depends a lot on what the probability is and what the expected outcome of that potential probability or that decision could be. So yes, it could come up with a negative option. And in terms of statement 2, in a decision tree, the net gain of an option is the expected value minus the initial cost. So we add up all of our values from our probabilities and then we deduct that from the cost to give us our net gain. Okay, great.
If memory serves me rightly, there was a past exam question, wasn't there, where one of the outcomes was a minus
Was a
figure,
loss.
and a lot of
Yeah.
students was a loss, and
Yeah.
a lot of students missed that when they were going to work out the expected value, and then again they
Mm.
didn't recognise a minus in front of the figure. So want to watch there.
Okay, question 5 then. So a business made a gross profit margin of 70%. Okay, they made that this year. If the gross profit margin this year was £560,000, what was the cost of sales? Is it 800,000, 240,000, 392,000, or 168,000? So gross profit margin 70%. Gross profit was 560. What is the cost of sales? Have a go at doing that. So a little bit of reversing the formula here. A lot of questions in the exam do require you to reverse the formula rather than straightforward formula calculations. Mia's come in with an answer already. We'll give it a minute just to see if anyone else comes up with an answer. Tough one, this. Okay, should we have a look, Jim?
Yep. Okay. There it is.
So the answer is B. The answer is B, 240,000. So how did we get that? Well, we know that the gross profit margin is 70%, and we know that the gross profit this year was 560. So what we now need to do is work out the revenue. Okay, so we need to work out the revenue first and foremost. So what we'll do is we'll take the 560,000 and we'll divide that by the gross profit margin of 0.7 or 70%. That will then give us our revenue, which is 800,000. Okay, so we've got our revenue now of 800,000. We've got our gross profit of 560. To get our cost of sales, we would do revenue minus the gross profit to give us 240. So we do 800,000 as our revenue minus our gross profit of 560 gives us 240,000. So again, reversing formulas, I'd say really get used to doing those. As I say, that's tend to how AQA write these types of calculation questions, certainly for the multiple choice. So you rearrange the formula. You've got all the numbers that you need there. But obviously 240,000 is what we're looking for, and 800,000 was the revenue.
Hard question, that one, wasn't it? Last one, this one.
Yeah, it was.
G?
Yeah, it was. So just to pick up on that. So last night after a hard day's work, I was relaxing by reading the examiners' reports for the summer's exams. And one thing that was highlighted was that a lot of students in this summer exams just didn't know the formula, and it really cost students a lot of marks. You've really got to know your formulas inside out to be able to reverse and manipulate them, because all those will lead to additional marks. So our final MCQ, 2 statements. So statement 1, if a product has an income elasticity of demand coefficient of plus 1.5, demand will rise by 15% if incomes rise by 10%. Is that true or is that false? Statement 2, if a product has a price elasticity of demand coefficient of minus 1.5, demand will rise by 15% if the selling price increases by 10%. So, is that true or is that false? So 2 statements, they're either true or false. A, B, C, or D. They always remain the same. True, 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 false, false, true, false, false. What do we think? So no real calculations needed for this one. You could do a calculation. What do we think? So income elasticity of demand, price elasticity of demand, real examiner favourites. I can't think of a year where it's not been examined. I can't think of a year. And again, it was examined in the summer with various degrees of success. So what do we think? So if product has an income elasticity of demand coefficient of plus 1.5, demand will rise by 15% if incomes rise by 10%. Statement 2, if a product has a price elasticity of demand coefficient of minus 1.5, demand will rise by 15% if the selling price increases by 10%. So some answers coming through. Sheila straight in with an answer. Shall we reveal what the correct answer is, Well
Yeah,
done,
well done.
Sheila. It was indeed
Mm.
being that is a really
Admit.
difficult
Really
question
hard. Yeah.
because they look very similar. So again, so we know the coefficient plus 1.5 for statement 1. So if incomes rise by 10%, we multiply the 10 by the 1.5 to get the quantity demanded increasing by 15%. So that is true. Now, statement 2, we need to recognize price elasticity of demand is different from income elasticity of demand. If we increase the price, the quantity demanded will fall. So it won't rise by 15%. It'll fall by 15%. So that is indeed false.
Those were hard, weren't they?
They
Mm.
were really difficult,
Mm.
really difficult. And let's continue with a more traditional calculation blast. So we've got a table on screen showing some data relating to the operations of a business. You've got the capacity this year, capacity utilization, forecast change in output next year, and the selling price per unit next year. And what we'd like you to do is, firstly, can you calculate the excess or spare capacity this year based on the data in the table? And then following that, can you calculate the forecast revenue next year? So shall we have a little timer on, Jim? Shall we have a little timer on
Yeah.
screen, do you
How
think?
long do you want?
I think 120 seconds. Actually, let's make it 2 minutes. Let's make it 2 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, let's do 2 minutes. So even if you get one of these, there's a number of different ways you can work it out. So
I
what do we
guess
think?
that
So
forecast change, I should have put plus 20%, should I? That's an increase of output.
yeah, it's an increase by 20%. Yeah.
Forecast increase in output next year.
So firstly, can we work out the excess or spare capacity? So we've got the capacity utilization. That should be relatively straightforward. And then from then we can work out the forecast revenue next year. So, you know, a question like this, you know, typically could come up on paper 1. You know, 3 marks each, 3 and 3 based on a table of data. So if there were 6 marks, you know, you can just see how easy it is to drop marks straight away, but how easy it is to gain marks straight away. Always show you're working out. That way you're going to increase your chances of maximizing marks, because even if you get the final answer wrong, you can be awarded some marks in your working out. So, you know, showing your process is a really good way of maximizing your marks, getting the maximum amount possible. But of course, if you get the right answer, then you're going to get the full marks anyway. So what do we think? Excess capacity this year. So there, we're after units really for that. Yeah, I think it is proving challenging, this question. But that's why we record them, isn't it? So you can go back at your leisure and go back over it if you think, actually, I need a little bit of, you know, a little bit of help. And also remember, the exams are a long way away, so plenty of time to go back over quant skills. So shall we reveal the answer? So excess capacity 7,680 units. So there's a number of ways you could have worked it out. So on screen, we know capacity utilization is 68%. So you could work out 68% of the 24,000. That's the actual output. That's 16,320 units. So that means the capacity is 24,000. We minus the 16,320 to get spare capacity or excess capacity of 7,680. Alternatively, you could have just worked out 32% of the 24,000. That would give you 7,680 straight away. But you still would have needed to work out actual output. And then from there, you can work out the forecasted change. So increasing the 16,320 by 20%. So multiplying that by 1.2 to get the forecasted output. And then multiply that by £25 to get 489,600. Now, they were 2 quite tough calculations. But what is really, really important is your practice percentages, percentage changes, percentage increase and decreases, because again, that was highlighted this year as a real issue for students. And sometimes you will get a question, a quant skills question, that just asks you to calculate a percentage change, and that was examined this year, and a lot of students couldn't do it. So make sure you're on top of percentages and percentage changes. That was a tough question. That was a tough question.
Yeah.
Bit of
One to
tough one
go
tonight.
back over.
Yep.
So I think, Jim, are you doing the first application spinner?
Yeah. I'll do the
No, I
first
think
one.
I am, aren't I?
Oh, Jamie, you go first, mate. I'll do the second one.
Yeah, so
was it,
application spinner then. So the aim here is to apply the question to a specific business. We've got 6 businesses there: Brewdog, Depop, Greggs, Gymshark, Nando's, and Huel. And we've got a question there that says, give me a benefit of using inventory control charts for one of those business. The spinner's going to spin round and we'll want to relate our answer specifically to that business. Yeah, specifically
Greggs.
to Gymshark.
Ooh.
So application here is we want to try to use words that specifically relate to Gymshark, because what we don't want to do is have like vanilla answers that could relate to any single business. Yeah, so we want to use application. We want to use words that relate to Gymshark and what Gymshark sell. Okay, so a benefit of using inventory control charts for Gymshark. Please have a go at doing that, and we'll put some answers on the screen.
Yeah, we can stick
Is it
one or
worth
two of the answers as they come in. Yeah, go on, G.
Yeah, I think everyone will be. Is it worth just mentioning what Gymshark, just in case there's maybe one person who doesn't know what Gymshark offer? It sells sportswear, doesn't it?
Sportswear, yeah.
Apparel.
Yep.
Apparel. Are you a Gymshark customer, Jimmy?
No, I'm not a Gymshark, mate. No, not
Not
Gymshark.
your demographic.
No, not for me. More sort of Nike or Adidas.
Are you going to ask me whether I'm a Gymshark demographic, Graham?
Well, I know
you
you're a
a
Gymshark.
Gymshark?
Yeah, I know you're a Gymshark fan, Jim.
Amazing business, isn't it? Amazing business.
It started off in a bedroom, didn't it? In his parents' garage. Amazing business. It's got a store on Oxford Street now. It's Oxford Street, next to Burberry.
So focuses on inventory charts. So how does the use of inventory control charts, how does that benefit this company? How does using inventory control charts ensure that there is success there for Gymshark? Again, use the words that relate to sports apparel, clothing, for example, to make that non-vanilla and more applied to the specific case study. That's what we're looking for.
Should we take a look at our answer?
Yeah, let's
Should we
take a
wait for
look.
other answers to come in?
Yeah, let's take a look. So one benefit would mean that Gymshark would be able to manage their specific lead times, the time it takes the goods to be ordered and then arrive at the store, and reorder levels for their most popular fitness apparel, such as leggings and sports bras. So again, we've used specific terms that specifically relate to Gymshark. Yeah, we could take that if we're talking about Greggs, we could change that to sausage rolls, couldn't we, for example? If we're talking about Brewdog, we can talk about cans of beer, for example. But again, we're making that link to the applied element of our case. So by analysing lead times for production and delivery, these charts would identify their reorder point so that the business can meet demand of their Gen Z customers without overstocking or shortages. So it's allowing us to ensure that we have enough stock in place so we don't have any stock outs or perhaps any element of overstocking, that we've got the optimized inventory level. We've got one there from Sheila, haven't we, Jim?
Yeah, Sheila's a great. I'll stick this on the AI driven entry here. It picks out some great entries that come into the live chat. What an answer that is, G. What do you think?
So Sheila said Gymshark could use inventory control charts to identify the reorder level for their leggings, excellent, and gym shorts, which are in great demand. That way they are never out of stock for those popular items. And that's key, isn't it? Because what you don't want is customers to come into your store looking for leggings or gym shorts and not be able to find them. And of course, if they're not able to find them, they'll go somewhere else, won't they? If they go somewhere else, that obviously has a negative impact perhaps on your reputation, and they won't come to you next time. So the use of those inventory control charts ensures that you always have the right amount of stock available when you need that stock for customers. Excellent answer. Excellent.
Amazing answer. We'll do one more,
Brilliant
shall we?
stuff.
Should we do this together?
Yeah, we'll
This
do
one's
one.
on. This one's on Graham's favourite topic: price elasticity
Oh,
demand. So Gymshark has disappeared to be replaced by Lush. Should we spin the wheel? So we
Yeah.
want to know a way in which a knowledge of PED might be used by this business. Let's spin the wheel. Let's hope it's Greg's, and then Greg will be.
Yeah,
Graham will be
Greg's
happy.
up, Greg's.
No, it's not.
Oh,
It's
Nando's again.
Can you believe it? There's a link back to the original question at the start of the session.
Seamless.
Mm.
So
Struck a
over to the live chat. I mean, can we beat Shelia's comment on Gymshark? Can anyone give us a way that the knowledge of price elasticity demand might be used by, in this case, Nando's? How might Nando's use an understanding, a knowledge of PED, the coefficient?
Yeah, often questions at AQ because students don't need to be able to work out the coefficient on the AQA level spec. So PED and YED questions generally do tend to be applying the concept to a business. So this is really, really important. So that's what application is. It's taking your knowledge and understanding, applying it to a business, and then applying it to a specific business. That's what application is. That really the same question applied to two different businesses should elicit two different answers, really. So how might Nando's use PED? Why might that be of
Whilst we're
value
looking
to the business?
in the live chat, we'll stick what we came up with because this will be overtaken by some better answers in the live chat. We suggested Nando's could use PED to adjust their menu pricing. So menus, I mean, Depop, Brewdog, Huel, Lush, they don't have menus as such. Oh, you might argue Huel's got a menu of food you can make yourself. But understanding which items are more price sensitive helps them price their popular peri-peri chicken or sides. So just using the words sides, peri-peri chicken, flame grilled chicken, the most popular product, by gauging customer responsiveness. That's a useful word when it comes to demand. How responsive, how sensitive are customers? How sensitive is demand to changes in price? They'll be able to fine tune their prices or fine tune their menu and maximize restaurant sales. That's got application to its core, isn't it? That response. Don't know who wrote that one. Must be one that Graham written.
It's seasoned with application.
Seasoned.
Certainly.
Absolutely.
Okay, we're going to move on because we're running a little bit short of time. We've got one final activity, which is another sort of application question. Over to you, G.
Okay, so we've got a business here called Wheelie Good Deals. It's a Wheelie Good case study. It's a second-hand car dealership. We've got the owner, Tory Treads, is considering two options to grow sales and has analysed them both using a decision tree. So we've got option A, employ more staff. Option B, expand the size of the showroom. We've got the initial cost of both options and we've got the expected value. So based on that information, should we have a look at the question, Jim?
Yeah.
So based on that, which option should Tory choose and why? So what do we think? So two options, employ more staff, expand the showroom size. We've got some data here, and again, highlighted in this year's examiners reports was the need for students to use data and be selective in their use of data to support their arguments. So here you've got some data you could use to help you decide which option. You could also look at some qualitative data or some qualitative information, based around the two options. Maybe why they should employ more staff, looking beyond the numbers. So based maybe on the data you see, which one should they choose and why? Maybe you could manipulate that data to perform a calculation, for example, and think, well, actually, I can work something out here which would allow me to support my argument. So we've got the initial cost and we've got the expected value. I'm sure there's a calculation, and we looked at it earlier on, that we could do to help support our answer. Maybe I'm going to give a bit of a clue here. Maybe we could look at the net gain, couldn't we? We could look at the net gain, firstly, of both options and say, well, actually, which option has the highest net gain? And you could argue, you could build a line of analysis around that. There's some other calculations you could do. You could say, well, actually, one's got a higher net gain, but I could ignore that, and this is why. As long as you justify it, it's fine. But try where possible. I think the learning from this activity is, if there is data in the exam paper, it's there to be used, and you should be using it. It's there. If we didn't want you to use the data, then we wouldn't have provided it on this activity. We would have just give you two options. If there's data in the exam paper, it is there for a reason, and therefore it is there to be used. Should we have a look at some possible responses?
Yeah, well, I'll keep an
So-
eye looking in the live chat, see if there's any
the chat,
extra
yeah.
points coming in.
Okay, so option A, it's actually got a higher return. So you could have worked out the return on investment. And we calculated that by, the net gain divided by the cost of the investment times 100. So option A had a higher return of 100% compared to 43%. You could have worked that out. That was quite a sophisticated calculation. You could also have worked out that the initial cost of option A is £500,000 lower. So looking beyond the figures, you could have actually recognised, well, actually, maybe employing more sales staff could allow them to provide a more personalised service to car buyers, spending more time understanding the specific vehicle needs, so some application and preferences of individual customers. That could lead to a better customer experience. There's nothing worse than going into a car dealership and not being able to find a member of staff. So more staff could allow them to maybe find out individual customers' car needs. That could give them a better reputation, allow them to compete more effectively with other car dealerships. So you can see the application there. We could have gone for option B. There's no right or wrong answer. Option B had a higher net gain, £300,000 compared to £200,000. So you'd be well within your rights to go for that option. You could also argue that expanding the size of the showroom, so more application, will allow the business to adapt more easily to changes in the car market. The car market is very dynamic, especially at the moment, by selling a wider range of vehicles such as hybrids and electric cars. So you can see what we've done there. So Benson, I have some Wi-Fi problems, so watching it back on playback, and I would advise you to re-watch this question because it's a great way of using data and data selectively to come to a decision and supporting that with maybe some qualitative information, which is a real skill, and it's a skill worth practicing.
Yeah.
Practice selecting data and using it to support your arguments. That was a tough session, wasn't it? But very valuable. Very valuable.
It's interesting what you're saying about the examiner feedback on calculations. So just to remind everyone, this is literally just hot off the press, isn't it? Our latest version of the AQA A-Level Business calculation practice book. This is we've now got 2 calculation practice books, one for students taking the exams next summer, 2024. That's the original, and some might argue the best. And also a brand new one for any students who are just starting AQA A-Level Business. It's one of those things, the more calculations you practice, the easier they get and the more marks you get. So that might be worth looking out for. Just search for that on the Tuesday website and grab hold or mention it to your teachers, get them to buy a class set, and then you're up and away with more practice, because practice makes perfect, doesn't it, with calculations?
Yeah, it
Definitely.
does. It does. There's so many of them. So many of them. But any of them could be assessed.
What are the key takeaways from this session, Graham, Jamie, in terms of those questions we sat there?
Know your formulas.
Know your formulas. Learn how to do them. Learn how to reverse formulas is also very important, isn't it? Because that seems to be the way that AQA answers some questions. So if you can do that's really, really important as well, I think. But what Graham said earlier on about being able to make that link between the appendices data and the qualitative data in the case, if you're able to do that as a student, I think your exams and your marks for that specific question are going to skyrocket. So that's what the best students do, I think.
Yeah, definitely. Nice feedback from Sheila. I'm glad you found the book useful. Yeah, we do aim to please. And if just to reiterate before we sign off, if there is data in the exam paper, it is there to be used. Be selective. Use it to support your arguments, and that is a route to better application. Better application means better answers. Better answers mean better marks. Better marks mean higher grades.
That was a nice line of analysis there, Graham. Excellent. Look, folks, that's been a really tough session, that one. I mean, I think we made it as tough as it gets. That's as tough as it gets. It's the kind of thing we'll be doing maybe in the week or two before the real exam. So hopefully you found it useful, but don't worry if you found it a bit of a struggle. That's why we do these things now, to try and encourage people to see how challenging these calculations and numerical questions are. So don't be intimidated by it. Keep going, keep practicing. And we're back again next week for our final session before our festive special. And we might make it a little bit easier. I'll ask Uncle Graham, see whether we can make the questions a bit easier next week. For one more session on calculations and numerical concepts. But for now, thanks for joining us live. And if you're watching on catch up, hopefully you found it useful too. So cheers.
See you later.